Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first series in English of my series, Extrasensory Perception in Our Daily Lives. And for this first English version, I'm happy to welcome Peggy Sfeir. Hi, Peggy, how are you?
Very well, and you?
I'm great, and I'm super happy that you are being my guest today. So, Peggy, as I usually do with my guests, I let them introduce themselves because you are such a complex being that I don't know by what description you want to be called that. So, how would you describe yourself? Who are you, Peggy?
I would describe myself talking about what I do as a practice. I am a coach channeler. I channel a lot of information when clients come to see me. It's because they need to see clearly on a particular subject. It can be professional or sentimental or even health-wise. So they're stuck in their decision making. So when I do my reading, it's so spot on, and it gives them the ability to tap into their possibilities that they forgot about. And I help them see clearly. It's not that I am a psychic reader, not at all. I tap into their possibilities, their probabilities, and there's a talking when I have my eyes closed. So I help them through channeling information and metaphors, and it helps them a lot because I tap into the energy that I believe has wisdom, and we forgot about that. So basically, I'm a theta healer. So I dive into the theta brainwave of my client with them, with their permission, and we do some healing by pulling old beliefs and programs and reprogramming the person. And I do channeling, which I love, which I'm so happy because I found my path, really.
Now, before we dive into exactly how you do it and what you perceive, I just want to give a little bit more context of this series. Now, my ambition was really, so it's part of my personal path. I discovered a couple of years ago that I have sensory perception, and I didn't really know what to do with it, really, especially because we all live in a culture where we have been told since birth that these things don't exist. So we are cruelly lacking, for me, cultural references that are just. So I didn't really know I didn't even know that these were extrasensory perceptions. I didn't know what to do with them. And then when I kind of opened up to them and accepted them, well, I got a lot of rejection from the outside world, from my family, from my friends, who were, of course, scared, and they didn't know if I was going completely insane. Or
definitely, I understand where you come from. Yeah.
I really want to, demystify what extrasensory perception is and how people live with it on a day-to-day basis, like really, down to earth, what you feel, what happens, so people can be reassured, and if they're facing it, deal with it and slowly get into it in a, how can I say, with a peaceful mind. Okay, so first of all, how would you define extrasensory perception? What is that for you?
For me, extrasensory has a lot of different sectors. There's an inner voice. For me, it's an extrasensory because you're not using your five sense. Knowing through dreams can be one of them as well. Inner knowing through touch, and then suddenly you've got this touch that you had before and it's coming. Why is it coming now? Is it related to the situation that I'm living now? You sometimes feel that you know the future, you know what's going to happen. Where did you get it from? So for me, it has a lot of sections, a lot of sectors. I cannot put it in one box and talk about it. It's physical sensations sometimes from other people that, wow, I have to leave this room when this person is here. There's something inside of me which is not good. I mean, I feel I'm drained. How would you explain that scientifically? So I know myself, I know others' mind. Sometimes I can guess that that person is coming to see me because of this particular. I can read. Where do I get these information? I just trust the process. And I've realized something, that the more I trust the process, the more I'm open to get information. And then it's like very spot on. And then I ask for confirmation. Is it correct? Because if it's not now, it might be 4 or 5 days later, or a week or a month. And definitely, whatever is not clear to my client now, they come back to me and tell me it was clear after a certain time. So I believe it's floating somewhere and we just need to grab it. That's how I think about it. on a daily basis, like if I'm driving, I'm
Yeah.
like, I have an inner voice, Peggy, remove yourself from this lane, take the other street. And then suddenly my friend will tell me I'm so late because I'm still stuck in the traffic, just like that. And my sister is like, why did you like to take the long way? Take the short way. I'm like, no, I'm going the other way. There's a reason.
Okay, so
Yeah.
if you were like in your daily life, okay, how does it work? You get up in the morning, you have your coffee. Does the inner voice speak to you? Do you see things? Do you feel things? How does it come to you? Is it overwhelming?
You see, it's not even on my daily basis when I wake up. Sometimes in the night I'm sleeping and I just sit down, I wake up suddenly and I get an information about one of my kids, about my husband. Like my husband is abroad and I had to call him. I said, are you okay? I'm getting this feeling that there's something bad. You're not okay. And he said to me, yes, I had a very severe allergy and I'm so worried about a project. And whenever I'm worried, I have this emotional stress and it gives me allergies. So I felt it. And he was like suffering at the same time. So I don't think there is a time where you switch off. Of course, you need to protect yourself. I close sometimes my chakras, just leave 10% open. It's just visualization that I'm closing the receptors. So then when I have a lot of information, I'm like, okay, I'm off today. It's my weekend. Please leave me alone. So on a daily basis, like I'm going to give you an example. When I wake up, I protect myself with this energy that covers my aura. And I say I don't want negative energy to affect me. I just want to be open to prosperity and happiness. And this particular day, I was so anxious. I wanted to pick my son's school. I had only 1 week to decide, and it was that last day of the week. I was driving my car, and our residence has the same initial of the new school. I was doubting if I should take it or not, but I've never seen that sign. I never look at it. So I stopped my car because it was the red light and I closed my eyes and I said, energy, send me a sign. Shall I go for this? Because it's like completely changing from French curriculum to IB. When I opened my eyes and I turned on the right side while I should have gone front of me, it's green. I turned and I saw the name of my residence, but it resonated with the name of the school. I read the name of the school and I'm like, is it the school or my residence? Immediately I went up and I called and I said, I'm booking him, I'm taking the space. And the first week was, Mom, this is a very cool school. I love it. Why did I waste 10 years of my life in another structure where I was like suffering? I trusted the process. I said, I'm not gonna, sometimes the logical mind will always give you excuses. Put it again in the balance. Take which is where there is more yes, where there is more no. Sometimes you need to just trust your guts and the energy sends it to you. If you ask, it will give you signs. So this is how I work.
Have you always had those extrasensory perceptions?
Um, I think so. When I was a child in Ghana, I was born in West Africa. So literally my parents lived in the jungle. So we were surrounded by forest and villages. And I used to sneak out of the house and go to the village where they process every night the rituals. You've got the medicine man, he goes into trance, and then he would heal people. And I would see the smile on the face of that person who came ill or who came worried. So I was like, can I do the same thing? And like I was dancing, performing, and I felt myself my head turning. But then after, society blocks you because I went back into a religious school where I was surrounded by.
Where did you live afterwards?
Afterwards, I was like, they DHL'd me to Lebanon to a boarding school. It was a nun school, a Catholic school, where it was not possible at all because c'est diabolique, it's Satan if you talk about it. But in the night, because I was not happy in that school, I would talk to spirits. I had imaginative friends, and my sister used to cry and I used to tell her, why are you crying? Why don't you talk with someone? Why don't you tell them your problems? And she would look at me like strangely, and I believe that that's what made me go through those years without anger towards my parents more than her, because of the support I had. Maybe they were my angels. And I'd like to add something. When I was studying in France, I was like 24. My father passed away after 3 weeks of that sensation I had for 3 weeks. I would see huge wings flying out of my body and going into the sky. And I knew something will happen. I definitely knew it. So I went to see my dad on the 11th of February, and he passed away on the 14th.
Wow.
And whenever something negative will happen to me, I will get the same image again. So for me, it's a sign.
So that's the whole thing. It's you don't necessarily choose if it's either only light or only shadow. Are there moments when you can be really overwhelmed or scared?
Of the messages?
Yes.
You know, I'll be frank with you, up till before becoming a mother, no, but after becoming a mom, like, I would not want to know something bad is going to happen to my kids. It's like I want to be in total denial. But I've been learning since a year to accept the information, because I went through therapy with that. And that lady told me, you heal people, you help people. Why don't you help yourself? If the information is there, you can't skip it, you can bend it. So work on it in a better way and take the maximum out of it. So I am there. I am there now.
So that's the whole thing. So sometimes, how can I put it? Have you ever asked yourself if it's a gift or a curse, or has it ever rather been on the positive?
Oh, no. I think I'm a very strong person. I think this ability made me stronger, and definitely it's not a curse. Oh no, because I know to whom I should communicate that. I don't say it blankly in front of someone. I feel who I can talk to about it, and I don't preach where I will be kicked out. I know there are people who listen, and people are eventually coming there. I mean, it's moving. The people are evolving towards a society where the physical and materialistic paradigm is no more 100%. I mean, look, now people prescribe to ill people, go and have a meditation. Since when meditation is becoming a cure? Now they trust yoga and meditation. Okay, hello, why do you trust this? It's energy. It's visualizing yourself in peace. So it's resonating now. The world is going towards that. It will not go in a big flow, but little by little, we will be there.
Now you made it. You made clairvoyance and channeling your profession. You said, okay, you're sensing who you can talk to. How is it perceived around you, like with your direct family and close friends?
My friends, because the friends, you pick them. So my friends are like me. They resonate with me. Family, you don't pick them. They're there. So they love you. So they're like jealous. And when they hear people gossiping, I've got my cousin in the States who's an engineer. He keeps on, whenever I post a video, he keeps on putting a comment. Oh yeah, we have a fortune teller who reads coffee, who does tarot reading. Oh my God, I bet that the husbands are not happy because she can see who is in the bed when the wife is out. And then my sister called me once, why don't you remove the title channeler or clairvoyant reader? Just keep the healing. Healing is better. I said, I assume it. This is who I am. And it doesn't bother me the way it bothers you. I told her, relax. I don't worry about that. It's okay.
And are you today in a total state of acceptance when you get those kind of comments? How do you deal with that?
If I would tell you 3 years ago, my blood would burn. My heart would beat so strong. I could hear it. Like, I just want to grab my phone and start replying. Nowadays, I don't reply. I just close my eyes, and believe me, I send them light. I send them light because I think those people are not neutral. If they are attacking it, that there's something already there. You know, they say in French, soit noir ou blanc, mais pas gris. You know, they have an attitude. So people, most of the time, will be enlightened, but it's not their time. It will come.
I understand. Yeah. Like, if they wouldn't care, it would be indifference.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to react. There's something that is triggering him. Okay, I know what you mean. But what about, that's your cousin, for example, or your sister who gives you advice for that? But how do you deal with it, like in your very close family, with your husband and your children? Are they open to that? Because they didn't choose that.
My husband, I've been with him for 20 years, and I know that my path is so different than his. We get along a lot, but we are so different, thank God. But for 7 years, I've been doing that. But since the last 2 years, I believe, because of when I call him several times at night, when I talk to him about something I'm not supposed to know about, and I know because he's abroad and he's working on it, he's like, "Are you a CIA agent or what?" I'm like, "No, I've got my antenna." So he's been coming to me sometimes and asking me to do readings for him. What do you think? Is it a good project? Shall I invest here? What do you see? So when I want to do it for people who are so practical, I just run my scale. I don't go deep. When I say run my scale is a line from 0 to 100, just like a thermometer. And I said, what do you want to know, if it's going to work or not? So I said, I'm going to run the scale. And I tell him, oh, I see 66, meaning it's not very successful, but you're above 50. And I see good energy. Yes, go ahead. So then he follows, because see, there's something I need to tell you, is that most of the time when people come to see you, they know the answer. They know. But it's the push that they need to take the decision and act. See,
like,
so we are validating it,
okay,
helping them.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
And what about people? What would you tell people? Yeah. What about your children? I'm still really curious. How do children react to that?
My children, I've got 2 kids. My daughter is 19 and a half. She is basically Peggy when I was in that age. That's why I'm saying I was literally against this world of spirits and energy. My son is 9, but my son, I knew from the beginning that he isn't that, because he would say sometimes sentences about a person he never met before, and he'll meet him for the first time. He will literally tell that person, you know, you were dead and now I saw that you came back to life. I'm like, Noah, you shouldn't say that. My daughter married, so I knew he had something. You know, when I read Dolores Cannon to him, which is very controversial sometimes, he tells me, I know that, Mom. I know about that. My daughter is like, Mom, please try not to burn the house one day when you're burning sage a lot. She said, believe me, the only thing it does, it gives me allergy and I cough and you stink. You know, this is what she says.
But does she listen to your advice when you sense something?
You know, she criticized me, but I know deep down that she believes somehow, not 100%, but it will be there. She likes my messages, she comments, but she's not there yet, but I'm sure she will be there. She will be.
There's one question that I often get asked. I really want to share it with you. And people ask me, how do you know that what you're seeing is not imagination or a psychological dysfunction? How would you answer to those kind of things? Apart from the fact that your messages are spot on, but like, you know, for
yeah,
you're like, how, you know, where's the line?
I had doubts a lot at the beginning. I had doubts, and you know, that's why I didn't start doing it as a profession, as a clairvoyant reader, but as a theta healer, yes, till I did a certificate, 2 certificates, which are recognized internationally and in Dubai specifically, because I needed this assurance that I can protect myself behind it. And I knew that it's something still inside the closet, you can't get out. But I learned that by doing it regularly and by trusting the process, I'll be frank with you, whenever I doubt, sometimes I have ministers seeing me and like my heart is beating and like I protect myself, I ground myself, but then there's still, I need to perform, you know, and I'm like, then after I said, what? Just let it go. I mean, just trust the process. The more I started trusting the process and forgetting the position or the importance of the person in front of me and just see them as energy, wow. I don't know from where it comes, but it's coming and I'm trusting it. And the more I'm trusting, the more it's coming. Now, to give you a scientific answer, this book helped me a lot, The Science of Channeling by Dr. Hilani Wahbe. She has an institute, they call it the Noetic Institute. It's the science of knowing. They do a lot of research. So, and they have like 5 or 6 places after their experiences with people who channels, and most of them are doctors and scientific. They've categorized it in 5 or 6 sources. Some people say that there are angels. Some people say that they're energies from other planets. I mean, everyone has different interpretation, but definitely they all go to the same point, that there is a source and they are getting this information from the source, but they cannot describe where and how and what time. Yeah.
Mm. And so what would you give as a piece of advice for people who feel that they have some kind of extrasensory perception, but they're scared of it? Again, because we're lacking, where there's no course while they are starting out, usually you're being alone. How do you get in it into a safe way? Because many people I
Yeah.
talk, okay, if I open up to this, there will be zombies all over my bed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because they'll be overwhelmed for sure. I've did a video about that, why people are skeptical or they're scared because, first of all, their beliefs. People are religious. They believe that when they touch into this energy, it's like they're doubting their God. God is the only one who knows or sends information. Or they're scared of being overwhelmed by information. For me, when there is fear, there's ignorance. Get to know it. There's nothing bad about reading about it, getting to know it, research it, put it back down, but then at least and there is a way of training yourself, because we're all intuitive, we all channel, we're like radios, we all receive information and we project, we give back information on a daily basis. And whoever you ask them to close their eyes and tell them, imagine the beach in front of you, imagine a tree, they can do that. We have this ability. Now, there is a way where you can train yourself every day by closing your eyes, grounding yourself, imagining your reading screen, and then project like you open the door, you walk into the house, you smell things, you touch fabrics, you develop this ability. Then day by day, it'll be stronger and stronger. And that's what I do as well.
That's very interesting. And so in your way of working, how does a reading work? Like, someone comes to you, and how do you get the information out?
Okay, now when someone comes to me, okay, we sit down and then like I just take a little resume about what they want to talk about. Is it, sometimes people just come to me and tell me, scan my energy, tell me what you see. So I read the aura and the chakras. Some people just come to me and they want to know if this toxic relationship with the boss is going to end up, and what is the end. They can't see clearly. They need the money, and how would they survive this job? So I do the reading. How do I do my reading? Is I get the information from them, but I never start before grounding myself and protecting myself so I'm not affected with the energy of my client once they leave. Then I connect. I visualize myself connecting with like an antenna to the source, to the divine, and then the energy starts flowing on my screen that I project. Even my screen is grounded, so my personal experience doesn't interfere with what I'm getting, because sometimes I'm like, oh, then you ground yourself again and blow the screen, put another screen, clean, and then you get the information. So whenever I'm getting information, it comes a lot of time in metaphors. Even with you said there was one information you couldn't get it very clearly.
That's so I get it. So that's very interesting. So you get all these symbols. How do you manage to translate them into example?
Yeah, so I believe every reader or every channeler has his own world of vocabulary. I'll give you an example when we talk about animals. If I see a cat, for me a cat is a spirit of independence, yet the cat knows the house of the owner. It needs it from time to, but it comes only when it needs to see the owner. So when I see the cat and the person is asking me about someone, I'll say that this is what I see, this character. So you cannot expect to have someone who will stay with you all the time. No, this person needs freedom. They don't suppress them, don't kill them with your protection. Let them go, but they will come whenever they want. So it's work on yourself to accept their character. So this is how I give the information. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I think we've covered it all. I just want to know, is there anything else that any piece of information that you want to share that seems important to you?
Yes, it's very important. Like sometimes I have clients, they come and for instance, they'll tell me, I want to know, does he love me? I don't work with other people karma. I work with my clients' energy what they want to know. Is he with someone else? Does he love her? Will he come back to me? I'm like, I will only work with your energy. I only see if he's compatible with you, the energy, the chords between you and him. If I see them toxic for you, I mean, through the messages that I'm getting and the visual images, I give you this information. I don't work with that like by putting my nose and my energy into other people without them knowing this is something bad. And if someone goes to some reader to do that, this is not good. Trust yourself that you can change, and you're here to change yourself for better. If you're working on someone without their consent, that means there's a lack of communication between you and them, and it's not good. So this is my message, basically.
Well, Peggy, thank you so much for sharing openly.
My pleasure. Always my pleasure.
It was great. And yes, I hope, as I said, I just want to share. I had a reading with you recently, and it was really, really impressive because every tiny little message was spot on. And as I said, like even the ones that went clear the first day, they were like 3 or 4 days. We're like, okay. So yes, I really recommend, and it was fantastic. So thank you so much for sharing.
My pleasure. Thank you for
watching, and I'll see you guys soon.
Thank you. See you. Bye-bye. Bye.